Hello everyone, hope that you are doing well. So we are out in the garden today and we're going to be planting stuff. Alright, so we're going to start here at the raspberry plant, and first off I'm going to start and I'm going to place 2 lavender plants on either side. So one here and one here. So to explain the companion planting system that I'm doing here, so the raspberries, they'll probably get about 6 feet tall, somewhere around that. They can get a little bit taller than that. So from there, what I want to do is kind of create like a slope outwards. So you just want to make sure that your outer ring is shorter than the inner ring. So if you want, you can go ahead and do like a ring of flowers, zinnias, chamomile, calendula, or you can just do like a couple of pockets of that, which is what I will do to make sure that that has plenty of room to expand. Sorry, I'm going to quit sticking my hand there. I see the camera keeps trying to focus on my hand. But so that's the main deal when you're companion planting, is you just want to pay attention to the sizes that everything is going to get. So these tiny little lavender plants that look like weeds there, they're going to expand and really take up at least like a 1 foot square area. So you want to pay attention to that, and you don't want to plant like another plant directly on top of it, because then it's going to kind of choke it out and it's not going to have the room that it needs. So what I'm going to do now is pick out a different variety to go in between these. Now, in my case, the variety that I am going to be picking is going to be dill. So that's one that I'm going to be sowing from seed. So I won't be planting that one in here yet, but we'll come back around when I grab the seed packets after I'm done planting all of the seeds that I already have. But I'm choosing dill because it smells very strong. So what I'm hoping that it will do is mask the scent of the raspberries, because they are one that attract pests like crazy. So for now, we're going to move on and begin planting the beds. But what I will do around each of the fruit plants is an arrangement probably almost exactly like this, because I like a lot of symmetry, or at least balance, in the garden. So on to the first center bed. So if you can see, we've got like a pretty straight bed here. I haven't measured that. I'm going to guess it's somewhere around like 10 feet or so, maybe a little bit longer. But I'm going to take pretty much all of these herbs out just so I can keep my watering straight and disperse them down through here. So with the other beds, I'm going to come through and sow seeds in, but I just want to make sure that I'm caring for my plants. And if I have 1 or 2 here and then another 1 or 2 in one of the other beds, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to keep up with. To begin with, I will actually do some chamomile. It is a little bit thirsty. These do get about 3 feet tall, and what I'll actually do is plant like a whole block here with this. That's another option. You can do like a center of tall things and then plant things all down the sides. Or you can do blocks if you're choosing how to plant your cottage garden. So color scheme is also important. Well, it can be, you can do just all kinds of colors, multicolors, or you can kind of focus on colors that are going to match, like purple and orange. And when you are planting a lot of flowers in your cottage garden, you just want to kind of make sure that, like I was saying earlier, that things are kind of balanced, but you can also be like very whimsical with it. That's the great thing about planting flowers, is pretty much any way you do it is the right way. So I've just moved some of the mulch out of the way, and I'm just going to dig a few holes for the plants here. These will get pretty large, so you'll want to make sure that you give them a little bit of space. So that's one plant. And then the next, I'm going to plant about 6 inches down. I don't know if that one's going to make it. I'll still put this here because I'm sure that there's seed in that and it'll come up later. But the plants were not there. So we'll just do a different one. And then I have a lot of cases like this where they're volunteer tomatoes that have come up. I'll just carefully separate that and we'll try and plant that somewhere else. And then here I'm just alternating. That helps to give a more full look. And so far the beds are doing pretty good for the weeds, which thankfully this is some of that grass that's really easy to pull. But I am leaving it in the pathways because it does make a pretty good cover. So for the last two, I'm actually going to take and plant them right here. And you can definitely space these out a lot further than this. Okay, perfect. So we have our little chamomile patch going here, and now we're going to move on to a different herb. Okay, so let's see. across from the chamomile, I think that we're going to do some self-heal. Look at this, that's a volunteer tomato. Okay, sorry little guy, you can't grow here. So with the self-heal, this is one that I just sewed everything together and never separated. So I'm going to do my best to kind of separate these. Just gently tease the roots apart. And then we're going to do a lot like we did the chamomile. Just do a patch of it. And then now I'm just going to gently cover these up. And then between these, I'm most likely going to come back and sew like some mini zinnias, some smaller flowers, just to make sure that there are no empty spaces. So next we're going to do a pepper. This is an arroz con pollo pepper. So next we've just got a couple of mugwort plants here. Do another pepper plant. So this one is the Corno de Toro. And then in front here, we're just going to do an oregano plant. Oregano is in the mint family, so it can be a little bit of an aggressive grower, but that's fine. I don't mind it taking over the space. It's a lot like lemon balm as well, and I have that grow. Okay, and then here, I'm just going to do another oregano so we can have a little oregano patch. This one's a little bit smaller, but it will catch up in no time. Okay, so we're just hopping back to the other side of the bed, and we're going to begin beside the chamomile patch, and we're going to do horehound. Next, we're going to do another pepper. So this is a jalapeno pepper. Okay, so now as you can see, I've laid out all the different things that we're going to be planting, and it's very mixed up. So these are each one pepper, and then I have, let's see, St. John's wort. What was this one? Mullein. That is what that one was. And then I've got comfrey, spearmint, and then there's another oregano down here that you can't see. But do you see how it's very mixed up? And that's really how you want a companion plant. You just basically like randomize it. Do you see how people are doing like the chaos planting with the seeds? That's essentially what you're doing with your herbs. Don't throw your herbs like you throw your seeds. So I'm going to quickly finish planting these, and then we're going to water everything, and then we'll move on to the seeds. All right, so I've gone back in and gotten a few packets of seeds. So we have our bouquet deal that I'm going to be placing on the ends beside the lavender. And then I just grabbed a few others for today. I'm going to do cosmos down on the end, and then anywhere that I have a little bit of an empty spot, I'm going to place a squash seed or two. All right, so first up we have dill. For this one, what I'm going to do is put a little spot here and then a little spot over there for the dill. And then between the lavender on this side, I believe I'm going to do marigold. Now to sow the dill seed, I'm just going to kind of disturb the top of the ground a little bit so that the seeds don't just roll directly off. And then I'm just going to take some and just sprinkle them. We'll do the same on this side. So I just dug up a marigold from the front beds, and I'm going to place this right here. So this is center of the lavender. Perfect. Now we'll just water everything in. Now, something I should mention is that with this being a caneberry, this will expand pretty quickly over time. So this will be fine for this year with my lavender being here. But lavender is a perennial and it will come back each year. So what I will probably end up doing as this gets larger and larger is just dig up the lavender and move it somewhere else if I need to. Everything else is an annual, so I'm not worried about it. So now we're just kind of walking down the bed space looking for any empty areas. So right here is going to be a good place to do some cosmos. So here in this spot, I'm going to do a long light of Palermo zucchini. And 2 seeds and just kind of cramming them into the mulch. These will be fine, they're pretty strong. And then here I've got a bit of an empty spot, so we're going to do some cosmos seeds. I'm just doing a bit of a trench here. And then I'm actually just going to continue that line on down just a little bit. So it began here and ended here. Just going to bring it down about twice that distance. And that should use up the rest of this packet of seeds. And then right here I have a poblano pepper and some spearmint. So I'm just going to take and put a coconut squash seed over closer to the spearmint. And I'm just going to do 2 to make sure I have at least one that germinates. Okay, so that's all that we're going to be planting in today's bed for now. If anything needs to be replaced or filled in, we'll come back and do that as needed. So I'm just going to make sure that I water this in one more time so I can go and get those seeds, and then I believe that we're going to be done for today. Okay, you guys, well, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope that this was helpful to you, and we have at least 3 more beds to plant. So if you want to see more of this, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye!